Well, welcome to my review and a little demonstration of the DeWalt DWE6401DS disc sander. I'm not sponsored by DeWalt nor any manufacturer. I bought and paid for this with my own money. So what I'm going to tell you is my honest opinion. And this little booger right here is a beast. Eric Roten at makeawoodsign.com has been bragging about this thing. He and Vicky both use them quite often, and he's talked about how much he liked it. Well, my Skill 3x18 belt sander went out on me yesterday, and I called Eric to find out what he really thought about it, and he honestly told me, he said, "Frank, I don't know that I will ever use another belt sander." He said, "This thing is so good." And it's lightweight. It's variable speed. It has a dust guard that goes around it to hook it up to your dust collection if you want. Doesn't fit mine. I haven't bought the adapters yet, so I haven't put it on. So normally I'll wear a respirator. I'll open up the doors to my shop and the windows, and I'll set up fans to help move out the dust when I'm using it. But let me tell you what this thing did. This is laying on a 2-inch thick, 80-inch long, 26-inch wide at the widest part, live edge oak slab that I'm going to be making 2 signs out of for a customer. And I've already run these things. I built me a router sled and used my router to kind of flatten out the boards, but you still have lines where the router left on the board, so you have to sand them smooth. So I had bid in the job 25 hours of labor of doing this, because I knew my belt sander took a while, preparing the board and everything, and getting it carved and all that. So I bid 25 hours labor into the job. Well, it took me about 4.5 hours just in sanding alone on the other side, using that belt sander with a 40 grit belt on it. It's about what I was used to. So when I flipped the board over and run it through the router plane on this side, then I got ready to start sanding. I started down at the opposite end of the board, and I got about, I don't know, 7-8 inches into the length of the board when my 10-year-old Skill 3x18 belt sander decided it wanted to burn up. And I literally had smoke coming out of the motor, and you could smell it. It was burning up the motor, so I shut it off before I had a fire, and I've already discarded and thrown that one away, cut the cord off and everything. So I called Eric, talked to him about this. He highly recommended it. He and Vicky use it a lot, like I said, so convinced me to go ahead and buy one. And I'm going to tell you right now, this thing is a beast. It took me about 15 to 20 minutes to finish sanding this side of the board. Now, from one end to the other, that's probably maybe 25 minutes at the most to do this whole side of the board with this thing in one pad. The time I saved in this sign is already paid for this machine right here. This is an awesome piece of equipment. Now let me tell you some things about it. It does have variable speed right here in the knob, in the trigger. It's a knob that you twist. Has a lock button so you can lock it on, and then you just squeeze the trigger to release it. The handle right here can be moved from one side to the other, so left-handed people or right-handed people can both use it. Again, like I said, it has the dust guard with connection ports for your vacuum system, but I don't have the connections I need to use mine, so I'm not using it right now. I will get it because I love my vacuum system. This is a disc sander. It is not a random orbital disc sander. So what that means is you cannot lay this thing flat down on your board and sand with it. It's going to take off. It's going to gouge your material. You're going to have a whole lot more to repair. So you want to work on the edge of this. You can work on any of the sides. Just make sure you're working on the edge, not flat down. If you'll take a look at this disc, I hope I can get in there and get it in the center. The center of that disc looks brand new. That's because it's never been on wood. But you can probably, hope you can see some of the oak build up in the outer edges. So it takes a light touch to use this. So what I would suggest is that you get yourself some scrap wood and you work with that, learning how to use it and the light touch that it takes to learn to operate it. And then once you have it under control and you've got it figured out how to use it, then you can move over to something that you're going to use for the finished product. But I'm going to go ahead and show you how I use it. And again, this thing is a beast. So here we go. Okay, I hope it showed up on video, but I want to show y'all that I could work on several different faces of the edge of that disc and make use of it. So it's a light touch. So like I said, work with it, learn how to use it before you go to a finished product with it. Again, this is the DWE6401DS, and like I said, I'm not sponsored by anyone. I paid for this out of my own money, and I'm not sponsored by DeWalt. Wished it was DeWalt, but this is a beast. So if you're in the market for a new sander and you're thinking about a belt sander, give this a thought before you do. It's a little bit more expensive than a skill built belt sander or something along that line. This was slightly less than $100, and I bought this at Lowe's. I think with taxes it's around 98 bucks and some change. But as far as I'm concerned, it's worth every penny that I paid for it. So, hey, this is my personal review. Take it for what it's worth. Maybe you like DeWalt, maybe you don't. This thing, in my opinion, is worth every penny, and it's already proved it to me on this one side of the board. So, I hope this helps you with some thoughts. If you got any questions, reach out to me, and I'll be glad to answer any questions. So, I hope this was good for y'all. Talk to you later.